Bosch runs 250 factories and 700 million digital twins. 2 years ago, their CEO made an early bet on agentic AI, before most companies even knew what it was. Norbert Jung leads manufacturing co-intelligence at Bosch. He's talking about what's happening right now and why 95% of agentic AI projects are still failing. Here, he breaks down exactly what separates the ones that work from the ones that don't.
There's a real change happening in front of us, and we have to deal with it. At my level, I know how I'm handling this, but you have a much bigger plate in front of you. You're leading a whole organization, the whole company. What does it mean for you to lead through this change?
You know, you take a whole organization through a transformation, basically, right? And on the one hand, there is a huge promise of agentic AI and the added value that we may bring to our customers inside Bosch and outside Bosch. On the other hand, some common ways of doing things, right? They don't work anymore, right?
And then you have to react to it. Yes.
My role is to mandate and lobby basically for the future and for the opportunity.
For the future of the company, for the future of everybody around you, yes?
Exactly, and for the change that also we must go through if we want to continue to be relevant to the customers and deliver.
How do you do it? Do you have templates? Do you have ways to think about it?
Oh no, there is no template.
There's no template.
There is no template.
We've done technology shifts before. It's not the first one.
What it takes is good communication.
Yeah.
Good communication, repeating over and over, communicate with all employees. Also, reallocating also budgets towards the new technologies that also disappoints people eventually, right?
Sometimes it get difficult, yes.
Yes, and you have to disappoint people, and yet the change is tough. But on the other hand, also very exciting because, our customers, most of them are deeply challenged, in particular in Europe. We have new price levels. Some say the China price is the new global price.
That's true. That there's a geopolitical component to this, not just technology.
I don't even want to go further than saying energy prices are very volatile these days, And then you have a whole generation of experienced workers in Western Europe that are on the brink of going into retirement, and then you wonder, we already have a scarcity of expert knowledge, in particular on the shop floor. If those people retire, who is there to pick it up?
Beyond Bosch, what does the knowledge retirement crisis actually look like at scale? And why is AI uniquely positioned to solve it before that expertise is gone for good? There is an entire generation of shop floor expertise that lives in people's heads, not in systems. And what happens when these people walk out of the door for the last time? This is a problem we are seeing across every manufacturer Microsoft works with. This isn't just Bosch's problem. This is a global manufacturing problem. AI can help by providing intelligence in the flow of work, when it's needed, where it's needed, and in the format it's needed.
What about younger employees? What about people just coming in and joining Bosch? How do they participate in that change?
Well, usually, they are trying to find their field of action. So they are very keen on the new stuff.
They probably look more for the vision, for what future is going to bring them, other than the stuff that happened already. They don't know what happened. They want to see what's going to be happening now.
Yes, yeah. I mean, those people, they definitely look for a vision with manufacturing co-intelligence, which is how we call our new strategy and our offering. We've put a very strong narrative out there.
Can you outline this? Just give us a sense of what that vision looks like.
Yeah. This idea of that, humans, machines, and AI we get it to work together such that it really delivers the next level of operational performance for our customers, typically discrete manufacturing companies. And what sets us apart from so many is that, we have this ideal combination. We're fortunate that as a company that is focused on bringing software and technology
You've been in the
solutions to the
center of it
market,
for a long
we are
time.
we are in the center
Yeah.
of a production knowledge hub. That gives us a real unfair advantage, I find. That's what so many don't have. And we can, for us, a production line is just around the corner. We can test things. We can, make it reliable before we even take it to the outside market. And that's a huge advantage.
And how are those new graduates that are joining your company that think about the future? How do they react to this vision? What does it mean for them?
For them, the vision is very important to believe in something that is tangible for them, that is modern, that makes a difference. Yeah, I find that they react very well to that vision, right? And they also want to see proof points. We are lucky that, well, we're actually not. Luck is with the, those that try hard, right?
Yeah.
So we work hard on really making the benefits of agentic AI and harmonized data in context tangible for our customers. A customer CEO would look at it as a business case and as a bottom line improvement. You were referring to the graduates that join us, right?
Yeah.
They also want to see hard proof of that's not just a great vision, a great wave.
They want to see a future. They want to be part of the future that they can believe in. Yes.
Exactly.
For more than just the 5 minutes, they want to be there and build a career. They want to make sure that their skills are being used.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So how are you building that vision? I know you're building this out of your existing business. There's a strength there and the core that we just talked about. What does the agentic component of it look like? Like, what does it mean for you to build agents?
I now work for Bosch for around 2 years. And before that, I worked for Siemens, I worked for Schneider Electric, Aviva, I worked for software companies. And I was already getting very thrilled when I attended, even before I joined, to an offsite of the leadership team of my group, and my development leader, he came to me and said, "Norbert, I got to show you something. This could be big." I wasn't allowed to do it under the previous leader. I had to keep it under the carpet. And I said to him, "All right, let me have a demo on the first day when I joined," right? And in the first week, I already got, 2 years ago, I got a first demo of what was the precursor of a agentic system. And when you develop a strategy, this is not a linear process.
Uh-huh.
You're really thinking hard about what sets me apart from others. And I have to say that this demo really inspired the strategy development. So we thought, all right, so
what was it? Now you got to tell me, what was the demo?
Agentic demo of, I don't know what it was back then. It was, a use case on the shop floor, querying
Connecting
machine
pieces,
data and see how easy it is, right? And then we were wondering, oh, really? Is it, this is textual, right? Engineers, they don't usually do lingo, right? They like graphs and charts. Is this gonna really, debating, is this gonna change the world? This is the new user interface for an engineer. It's now a text-based system. And we were debating this, I remember. And after we figured out that this is gonna become bigger, right? That at the time, the big Gen AI tools that just came to the market.
So this was the moment of conviction for you. That's where you decided.
Yeah, this was an inflection point, right? This was an inflection point. And then we thought about, well, the agents are only going to be as good as the data that goes into it. And we knew the second component where we knew we are strong, right? We had, at that point, 700 million digital twins scaled in use on our platform. And that gave us, well, we have something here that we could monetize stronger, right? And Also, when one of the car manufacturers came and did a stress test on that platform, we didn't feel it. So we knew, that is something that we can build on. So if we bring in the agentic piece and then we rattled for some, innovation incubation budget for the agentic piece, and this is how it all started.
But the decision making is fascinating here, because clearly you didn't have all the data in front of you. Like, you were making a bet 2 years ago that this is it. That's a lot of risk that you were taking on.
You could refer back to the old product management books, Innovator's Dilemma and so forth, right? If you go with your existing customers and you ask them about a disruptive technology, they're going to say, stay away from that because we want to keep the existing stuff coming, right? Don't get distracted.
I'll buy the new stuff from somebody else.
How do you want to forecast the disruption? So we were doing a lot of quantitative and qualitative interviews of experts, what they thought about different subjects around our strategy. But on the agentic piece, we tried, but there's really few that could advise us back then, right? And we were lucky that we were early in the game. Everybody's adding the word agentic to their offer now, right? Software companies add agentic on top so that they can get the next renewal of their software license, right? They clearly see that, their offering is under threat.
So give me another insight, because I love your perspectives on those things. So when you were making this decision, how deep did you get into the technology? Like, did you get hands-on? How much did you respect the knowledge of your team, and how much did you test it yourself?
Well, I'm using those tools every day for my own work, right? I have my own project folders. I have my own knowledge bases, right? That I
So you're doing vibe coding?
Well, I'm not vibe coding in my job, but I don't know. I write job descriptions, right? And I wrote a job description the other day. It came out from my project just like this, I didn't change it much before I put it out. And actually I didn't. I don't think I changed it at all, actually. I'm very happy that in our team there are quite a few people that got totally fired up about agentic, that live and breathe this. They do their own local systems at home, to run the home automation system even smarter. They're total geeks in this, and they live and breathe, right? And I wanted to see demos, and our customers want to see demos. They want to see the real thing. It's not real for them
the
until they
slides
can
are no
touch
longer
it.
doing the trick. I completely agree. People want to see that this thing actually works,
That it
and not
exists
just in
live.
one place.
Exactly.
And then in our world, in the manufacturing world, hallucination is not a choice. Like, the machines have to produce things safely and pretty much at 100% reliability. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Do you already trust the systems that you are building?
We are testing the systems until they are reliable enough so that we give it the quality stamp. With Bosch, with the brand of Bosch, we have a big responsibility to put quality products out, right? And same goes for our data and AI systems. What we do is we apply the Bosch production know-how in many ways, right? So number one, first of all, on the use cases, right? We have a wealth of 250 factories that all have cool ideas on use cases, and we can pick the best ones. Obviously, we test those also with non-Bosch customers to make sure that they're not particular to Bosch, right? We have written down how you build a value stream and continuously improve a value stream. And we have a lot of proprietary knowledge documented that we're using, and that is helping us to make the agents better.
So it's not only that you have a limit, a threshold for when you believe they are right. You actually have a process to make sure that they're better?
Well, we test. And there's as much work going into testing as to creation. And our idea is that we pre-configure those agents for end-to-end processes that we think have that solve problems for many customers, right? For example, the scarcity of expert knowledge on the shop floor we talked about, right? We have agents that address that problem, that help our customers scale expert knowledge globally.
Yep.
The CTO of SIG, Niels Schossen, he said that the agent is giving a response quality of a senior expert on day 2 of deployment, right? So those kinds of systems. And we also want to make it really easy in a no-code environment, right, to allow our customers to deploy their own agents in our systems so that we bring all the knowledge in and they can do their own use cases.
So, okay, so most of the agentic projects today are not doing that hot. There's still a lot of failures around us. So clearly there's something missing that companies do when they touch and try AI that you are not seeing, because it looks like you are succeeding with what you are doing. What's the difference? Why do some of these projects fail and some of them succeed?
What you can read in the studies, like MIT Nandu study, 95% of agent agent projects don't deliver economic gains. That I see in customer discussions every day. When you walk around the trade fair here, there's many singular spot agents that do something, and it feels a little bit like, a just do it approach. Because technology is there and this idea seems to make sense, let's deploy this, and then people wonder why this is failing, right? It fails for a number of reasons. It fails because people didn't think about the business process end to end, about the value drivers in that business process that actually make a difference economically.
Okay, so the first problem is nothing to do with technology.
It's nothing to do with
Problem,
technology. It's understand your customer's process, your customer's way of working. So this is the first thing, right?
So is it because it's the engineers, is the IT choosing what to build? Like, why would company not think through the business problem?
Thinking through the business problem, I think the whole industry is learning, right? Is learning to use that new technology. I think that's a learning curve that many go through right now. Also, why so many agentic projects were stopped eventually, right? By a budget holder who said enough, right? That is only increasing our cost base, but not anything more. So first of all, going through understanding what is the value driver, the KPI that you want to improve. And then when you have done that, to think about that business process end to end. A singular agent along that business process is not going to do the trick, right? It's going to be a multi-agent system across the process. And then does this process apply equally to other business process, to other plants, to other lines around the world? Is it scalable? Can you reuse it? And once customers have been managing to derive value from agentic AI that way, there comes another challenge. How do you maintain this such that the running cost doesn't compromise too much on the benefits?
What separates the companies getting agentic AI right from the ones that are not? The frontier companies that are getting it right are not starting with technology. They're actually starting with a business problem. It's all about the context of data. You cannot run agents on bad data. You cannot scale on systems that are not designed to talk to each other. AI can bridge that gap because AI can understand contextual data. It gives us common knowledge and allows us to scale by not just addressing a single large problem, but by addressing thousands of similar problems across the enterprise to solve for improved business outcomes.
So even if you were lucky and you picked up the right business problem and you collected and connected the agents and even got some value out of it, the ROI may still be negative, and this is whole...
It's going to be compromised, right? Yeah. Because people underestimate the cost of running those systems, right? And it reminds me so much about, for those that were around, and maybe not this younger generation that you were referring to, about the AI hype. I don't know, when was it, 10 or 20 years? I was there, like almost any problem seemed to be solvable with AI. AI as the ultimate tool that solves any problem.
It was ML mostly, at that time.
And in industry, what is the residual outcome was probably many data science projects that improved something, Spot, but I can only see two things that actually have scaled largely where a lot of value was driven. This is quality, visual inspection, for example, right? Separating the good from the bad.
From that way,
AI
yes.
is really good at, right?
Yep.
AI is really good at. Or predictive maintenance, in particular on rotating equipments, where you put you put a sound sensor on a rotating equipment, and if the sound profile changes, well, maybe I better maintain that before I have a bigger damage, right? And those were the two things that have
That
really
was very
scaled.
narrow, yes. That first wave was incredibly narrow.
Think the hype and think what was
Yeah.
the outcome of it, right?
Yeah.
I think the impact of agentic AI to our industrial world is going to be far greater than the previous. But again,
But are you
this
thinking
is
like
hype
we're
talk,
going from
right?
two use cases to 5 use cases? Are we going from 2 to
Exactly,
hundreds?
exactly. And what I'm seeing now is that in administrative processes or in domains where the know-how is in the public domain, right? I don't know, law
Yeah.
or medical field, where all the know-how is public
Everything is
know-how,
documented.
Everything is documented. You see a real impact today. Definitely, you see a real impact. I don't know. In an insurance company told me that I don't know, from when you submit a claim until the money is on your bank account, there's almost no human involved anymore, right? They check if the picture that you submit matches
you can
with the
do
weather forecast that day and so forth, you know?
But even in our industry, like permitting process, I can see permitting being fully automated with AI.
Many
Thousands
areas.
of documents and
But,
it's just going to go
you know,
away.
industrial companies are not like that. Most of the core process know-how is just not public knowledge.
It's all
right?
machines, yes. It's
It's just
rules
not public
and
knowledge, and therefore it's harder in our industry, right? And that's our benefit.
because you have the know-how.
We have that know-how. Yeah.
Out of
and
100 something factories
and-
that you run yourself.
and we have that know-how, and you know, obviously agentic AI has a huge opportunity all across a manufacturing company, and we start from, we call them performance zones, areas that we
Yeah.
focus on that are core business processes to a manufacturer. For example, how you run your shop floor. For example, data quality processes. For example, maintenance processes, or how you optimize a value stream, right? Those are core business processes that if you can make a difference on those, they really mean a big economic impact for our
And there is a lot of cost and value associated with those. So
Yeah.
if you really solve it, you're solving for something that matters.
So, and that's why we think that it's about, you know, humans, machines, and AI working together. That's why we call it manufacturing co-intelligence. We want to make humans
Okay,
more
but
productive.
It sounds very buzzy. Humans, AI, what's the reality behind it? Like, if you can strip the buzzwords and just tell me, what does it really mean?
Maybe
Because
I
the
use
work for everybody change. Let me just
Yeah.
give you, like, we're going to have humans in our production facilities because somebody will need to make some critical or maybe not. We're going to have AI in it because some of decisions can be augmented.
Look. First, a word on how many humans involved and so forth, right? So agentic AI is sometimes associated to dark out factories.
Yep.
Right? No humans involved, and so forth. And that may exist in the odd case, right? I don't know, in semiconductors, in electronics,
Something very stable.
in some very specific fields.
Yep.
But the majority of manufacturing is a very, very diverse. That's not an objective to go for anytime soon. With agentic, you may make in domain language.
Yeah.
You know, if you have an operational OEE, overall equipment efficiency of, I don't know, in the heavy 90s, you might go the last 2% with agentic AI, you know, but you're not going to get from 80 to 100 with agentic AI. So the majority of the processes are very diverse.
Yeah.
It's gonna humans and agents working together in those diverse processes.
So you're reflecting the complexity of the system by saying this, because you will need all those pieces coming together for the.
You know, think of the IT/OT landscape today, and in reality, it is the broken business processes are fixed by humans. sending emails to each other, by updating Excel
We are the duct
spreadsheets.
tape. The duct
Or
tape
we
of
talked
the...
about the duct tape. We need a duct tape to adjust to attach the micro, right? Exactly. So there's a huge opportunity for agents to act as a glue between those systems, and they can only do that if the data underneath
Yep.
is semantically meaningful, and that's the idea. But you're asking, what does it mean concretely? I mean, maybe I just describe a few use cases because they are
Yeah.
as real as I can get.
Tell me.
On a production line on the shop floor, you have experts, and the light, the machines, they have a traffic light system. The traffic light system on top turns to red. It means the machine has a problem, right? On the production line, and experts then go there
Somebody's
quickly.
notified, somebody's got to figure
Somebody's
out.
notified. They go there quickly. They try to fix that, right? First of all, the people on the line, on the shop floor, are trying to help. If they can't get it done, they call the expert and so forth. Experts are scarce. Don't even think about the weekend or night. So there is a real use case of fixing downtimes with the help of somebody who is there on the shop floor, augmented, supported by an agent, right? Without need to call on the expert, right?
Or at least a
then
human being.
then you can do it at night, on the weekend, and
Yeah.
there is a huge economic opportunity from this, because otherwise, problem at 3 o'clock at night, expert comes in at 8 o'clock in the morning, 5 hours no production. There's a huge benefit already from reducing unplanned downtime of lines, and we're analyzing this for a production plant of 2,000 employees. Maybe this can turn into a 1 million euro benefits opportunity per year per plant, right?
So real money. This is
Real
not
money,
This is
yeah.
not some. Yep.
And some of our customers, it's even technologically very basic stuff. On shop floor today in many countries, not everybody is speaking the language very well of that local country.
Yeah.
So with the agent, with the Gen AI system, you can talk any language. People, we know realities on the shop floor are, okay, I've fixed this machine problem. The line is up again. I run to the next problem. People don't make a shift book entry. They don't capture the know-how that...
Because it's not their problem. They already solved it.
So
Somebody else.
for me, the problem is solved. Let's
Yeah.
hope it's not happening again. Let's go, because my next problem is pressing. So the agent suggests a appropriate shift book entry, and the employee approves that entry, and then it's being entered into the shift book system. So the know-how of that plant keeps increasing.
Yeah.
Multi-agent system could also trigger off a maintenance process, where the maintenance schedule is readjusted as a result of this problem, where the availability of spare parts is assured.
So Norbert, so you're painting a picture of reality.
Yeah.
But then you are saying you can actually apply AI to that reality. Like, this is not a made-up scenario. This is what's really happening on a... and it's dirty. It's not clean data flowing from one system to the other. There are people with different skills, operating different languages, that have to go to sleep. I mean, this is real stuff. AI is such a conceptual idea, but this is no longer conceptual. This is now becoming part of how we actually do things.
And we got to get real if you want to create value.
Yep.
We got to get real. Another good example, is root cause analysis on a quality issue, right? Customer unhappy, problem in the field with the product. You're a quality manager, you got to do root cause analysis. I mean, there's so many IT systems that you have to refer to analyze, to perform your job, right? So first of all, engineering could have been wrong, and you got to look at engineering drawings. You got to look at end-of-line tests, right? Was it on quality spec when it left our production, right? You can even look at, has the customer used the product in the right way, right? There's so many systems that you have to touch, and because there are so many systems, oftentimes root cause analysis actually are not performed because it's so hard. And there is a lot of money laying on the table from connecting those systems, the data from all those systems in a way that semantically makes sense so that root cause analysis can be performed very quickly. Could even be to fend off a warranty claim by a customer. And then again, the monetary impact is very strong.
And you're right, because this is unique, because normally to do this translation, humans would have to read those systems, understand what the data in those systems means, bring it together, correlate it, and then act on it.
Act on it, yeah.
System by itself cannot talk to each other because they've been designed separately. They don't speak the same language. And AI can bridge that gap because AI can actually understand those differences.
Actually, not AI, semantic data, meaning, semantic context, meaning of data in the entire product lifecycle.
And then agents acting on that semantic data.
Exactly. You know, engineering systems are not speaking the same language as production system, as quality system.
We have departments, we build them separately with a separate language.
And they were optimized for that department, for that particular function, and that was very right. Now, if you want to go across, we need to speak a common language. That's a very economically strong case, right? Could be multi-million benefit for a company.
So now we gave me at least two real use cases. So we're getting there.
From the shop floor and from a kind of administrative function, let me say, quality management.
But it sounds like it's getting real. This is not dream.
That's what we work on, right? And we work on in the performance areas that I mentioned. You know, shop floor quality, compliance is a big one. Increasingly, there is reporting requirements coming down from the European Union. One of them, for example, the battery passport, right? Previously was only car battery, you know, supersized batteries like grid scale batteries or car batteries, where you had to report on the state of that battery, what is it made out of, right? For a good purpose, right? To recycle the products, the valuable products that are in that battery eventually, right? And the size of those batteries coming down, right? So,
well, you have a amazing job of solving for those problems and leading your organization through them. I don't envy you. That's not an easy job, but it's also incredibly exciting. Like we are creating future. You are creating future for us. So thank you for having a conversation with me, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Adam. It's a real pleasure to talk to you today.
No, but thank you.
Thank you.